2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 9. For which I am suffering, bound with chains as a criminal, but the word of God is not bound. The verse begins with for which, connecting it to the previous verse where we have the command to remember Jesus Christ. So with that ground of remembrance, Paul talks about his cost here, which is his suffering. Paul is hurt not just physically, but the pain of being deserted by his friends. And he is chained in that dungeon and treated as a criminal. And he is in a way telling Timothy that this is what he may have to endure. Notice that Paul is not giving a smooth talk to somehow cajole Timothy into serving the Lord. But then in the end of the verse, he also gives the foundation for Timothy's courage and confidence. The word of God is not bound. Paul was bound in chains, but the word of God cannot be bound. The enemies of the gospel can prison the preachers of the gospel, but they cannot imprison the gospel. In fact, even the imprisonment of the preachers serve to advance the gospel. Philippians 1:12-14 says, I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. And most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. Paul's suffering was to advance the gospel. If ever we are overwhelmed by our suffering for Christ and wonder why that cause seems defeated, let us remember the Word of God will not be bound. The Word does its work through an agent of suffering. Have a blessed weekend.